Just like with anything in life and business, just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean you have to. And you left the rat race, you left corporate, you left having somebody else tell you what to do so that you could make your own decisions. So do that.
I'm Amy Porterfield, ex-corporate girl turned CEO of a multi-seven-figure business. But it wasn't all that long ago that I lacked the confidence, the budget, and the time to focus on growing my small but mighty business. Fast forward past many failed attempts and lessons learned, and you'll see the business I have today. One that changes lives and gives me more freedom than I ever thought possible. One that used to only exist as a daydream. I created the Online Marketing Made Easy podcast to give you simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to help you do the same. If you're an ambitious entrepreneur or one in the making who's looking to create a business that makes an impact and a life you love, you're in the right place, friend. Let's get started. Hey there, welcome back to Online Marketing Made Easy. I'm your host, Amy Porterfield, and today's episode is going to make you uncomfortable. At least it made me very uncomfortable. I sometimes like to record the intro for my episodes after I interview my guest, just to kind of see what kind of vibe I want in the intro. And I just need to be honest, I'm feeling uncomfortable right now because we talked about a topic that I have kind of hinted at on the podcast. I had a social media manager for many, many years, and I'm proud to say she has gone on to start her own business. She has a business where she does the social media for the bride on her wedding day. So she's not the photographer, but she has now a whole team of content creators. They do all the social media so the bride can post on social media during her wedding or right after. So Stacy, my old social media manager, literally started this business as a side hustle. It exploded, and I encouraged her. As much as I hated losing her, you got to go and do your thing. I mean, this is what I teach, right? So anyway, I have a brand new social media manager. Her name is Cece, and I love her. So she runs my social media, and she does a lot of the legwork. But she knows that social media is tough for me. I'm not fully comfortable with it. I don't necessarily love it. I have been known to call it a necessary evil because there's so much about it I don't like, but I see so many benefits in our business from it. I mean, one being just connecting with all of you in a way that I don't know I'd be able to connect with if it weren't for social media. But I've been very honest on this podcast around, I really have a love-hate relationship with it. So why am I uncomfortable, and why do I think you might get uncomfortable as well? Well, my guest today is Kate Kordsmeier. And she left social media completely and grew her business by 165% after quitting. What? That's the punchline right there. Do I have your attention? So Kate, if I take you back a little bit, she first left corporate life to write for magazines such as USA Today and Self Magazine. And today, though, if we fast forward to where she is today in her business, she is a coach, she's an entrepreneur, and CEO of a multiple six-figure online business called Success with Soul, where she empowers women to become entrepreneurs without the burnout and now without social media. That's a side of her business because she got off in 2021. She got off social media. So since then, because it's worked for her and she's been able to continue to grow her business, she teaches other women who are curious about that how to do the same. So the reason I said I'm uncomfortable is because she brings up a lot of great points that I really resonate with. And I want you to kind of self-assess after this episode and tell me how you feel. Like, I really want to know, did you feel angsty? Did you feel a little uncomfortable? Or maybe you felt the hugest sigh of relief because Kate was speaking to your soul. Or maybe you totally disagree with her decision to encourage others to get off social media. I don't know, but I am dying to hear what you think about this episode. So go to Instagram, social media, but go to Instagram. That just felt funny talking about getting off social, and I'm telling you to go to it. But I want to hear from you. At Amy Porterfield is my Instagram handle. Tell me what you thought of this episode. You promise? I really want to know. Okay, won't make you wait any longer. Let's get to it. Hey there, Kate. Welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to be here.
I'm really happy to have you here. I have been looking forward to this episode for a long time. We batched way ahead. So months and months ago, I heard a little bit about your story and I thought, she must come on the show. I mean, you and I have been friends for many years, but this story was new to me. So I'm just going to set the stage. You kind of give us the scenario of how this all came about. So you've been in business for 7 years in the online marketing space. You quit social media in 2021. So my question is, how did you even come to this decision? How did you not think your whole business would fall apart without social media? Take us back to how this all came about.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I heard you say maybe last year, recently, something like, oh, if I didn't have to be on social, I wouldn't be. And I thought, well, you don't have to be. Like, I mean, first of all, it's your business. You can do whatever you want, right? But there's so many people that feel that, like, no, you have to be there. Everybody's there. And it's true. A lot of people are on there. But I think I'm living proof now that you definitely do not have to be if you don't want to be. And I always preface this conversation too with saying, if you love social media, if it is bringing you joy, if it is bringing you clients and it is working for you, feel free to ignore everything I say. Like, I'm all about just creating a business that works for you. And so for me, social media was like the bane of my existence. And for the whole 7 years that I've been in business, I have hated it. I really just didn't enjoy posting. I was always there begrudgingly. I always ended up feeling bad about myself when I was scrolling. I mean, we know now all of the like mental health issues and things that can come, all the FOMO, all the anxiety and depression and comparison and stuff. So that was all always true for me too. But like you and many other people, I felt like, well, you have to be there though. You have an online business. How could you not be on social media? So I was there and I'd go through periods where I would, post more. I'd get into stories when they first came out. Oh, this is kind of cool. Let's try this, and uploading the minutia of my life. And, and I never really enjoyed it. And mostly I kind of always felt like, is this even working? Like, I didn't always feel like I was getting the engagement that I wanted to. I didn't know, like, I didn't have a lot of people saying, oh, I found you on Instagram, or, like when I looked at the stats of who clicked over from Instagram to my site or bought something, I could never really say, wow, this is a super effective strategy. So long story kind of short, in Thanksgiving 2021, I just kind of thought, what if I just took a digital detox for 30 days? I wasn't planning to quit forever or have this be this huge thing. I was just like, I just need a break from this. And so I quit for 30 days and I felt so great after 30 days and my business didn't burn to the ground. And I was like, well, let's just go through the end of the year. Let's just do another month. And before I knew it, it was like 6 months later. I hadn't posted a single thing. My business had grown 165%. And it just was like, well, I'm just going to keep doing this because clearly I never needed it and I feel better than I did before.
Okay. So wait a second. I don't understand. I genuinely do not understand how your business grew when you weren't on social, because here's how I look at it. I don't believe social media is the end all be all. I don't believe that social media is what makes your business a success. But I do believe social media is very necessary for growing your email list. And once you have an email list, then using that email list to create revenue. So it is kind of a means to an end is how I've always seen it. So I need you to kind of break down. First of all, even though I talked about this in the intro, tell people a little bit about what is your business?
So I have had two businesses. I started in the online space as like a traditional blogger. I had a blog called Root and Revel. I grew that into a very successful business that I actually sold in 2021 also for multiple six figures.
I didn't know that. Congrats, my friend. That's a big deal.
Yeah, thanks. It was awesome. I didn't even know you could do that, sell a blog. So it was actually at that mastermind that I met you at that somebody said, you should sell it. And then I was like, great idea. So I did. Meanwhile, I had started a second business in 2019, which is more of a course business and coaching and kind of teaching other people, how to do what I did. And so that business is called Success with Soul. It's the business I still run today. And so, yeah, I mostly just help people create online businesses without social media, without the burnout, and in a very kind of aligned, soul-led kind of way.
Okay, so I have a lot of questions like, how did you prepare to really mentally get off social and find the courage to say, I don't need this to grow my business? But maybe you'll answer that through some of my other questions in that. So if you're not using social to grow your email list, one, how are you growing your email list? Two, how are you selling? Like what does your business look like without social? And how did you grow it without social?
Yeah. So I love that you said you think of social as like a means to an end, because it can be for sure. For me, it wasn't a means to the end. Like it wasn't giving me that, but I had other things in my business that were. And so I just kind of doubled down on those and then let the rest go. So for me, SEO is the number one way that I grow my email list. And I do that. I say SEO, I mean anything that's a search engine. So it could be blogging, it could be Pinterest, it could be YouTube, it could be a podcast, anything where it's like free content on your site that can be found through search engines. So that's the main way that I've grown my email list, is getting somebody to my website that way and then converting them into an email subscriber through that. I've also kind of do sprints throughout the year when I have capacity for things like collaborations and doing like PR, like guesting on people's podcasts. I might go, maybe this month I'm going to pitch like 30 podcasts, and then I'm not going to do anything for a while after that. So I do things to grow visibility in other ways, but the main way is SEO.
Okay, that is so great to hear. So, because you were a blogger from the very beginning, I'm assuming you always have believed in SEO. Like a lot of us, I think I'm speaking for a lot of people listening, Kate, where we just kind of glossed over SEO.
Yeah,
Because
totally.
when I came on the scene, it was all about Facebook marketing. No one hardly ever talked about SEO. And if you did back 15 years ago, you were super techie. You were like the nerdy internet marketer who knew something all of us didn't know. That's what it felt like. And it felt like a different language because sometimes SEO does. So what I love, first of all, is you've always believed in SEO since I think the very beginning. But let's say someone like me, I've been at this for 15 years. We definitely use SEO now, but we are not nearly probably tapping into it like you are. Would you say that anyone could learn this, even if they've built their business for a few years and they want to get off social? How long would it take SEO to kick in if we weren't like you, where we were using it from the beginning?
Yeah. Well, I think you probably are using it from the beginning more than you think you are, because there's definitely some technical aspects of SEO, like page speed and optimization and performance and things like that, which basically are all solved with plugins on WordPress. Um, and there's keywords and there's the obviously strategy to it. But the main thing about SEO is creating valuable content that helps people. And you've been doing that since the beginning. So could you hire somebody like me or somebody else to come in and go, let's really optimize what you've already done and see if we can boost your SEO? Like that's the perfect situation to be in, because it's just a few tweaks that you'd need to do. I mean, for a lot of content. But if somebody doesn't have like a website that has content on it already, I say like 6 months is kind of where you could start expecting to get significant traffic. You can start getting traffic right away, but we're not going to be getting thousands of page views right away.
Okay. So I love that you gave us literally the strategies you're using. So SEO. I also love that you said search engine is just also search engine with, you said Pinterest, YouTube. What else did you say?
Podcast.
Blogging. Okay, great. So give me a specific example how someone is using a podcast to find you. But I guess I got confused, not through search. Like, what did you mean by that?
So if you want podcasting to be your platform for content, then I would say in order to SEOify your podcast, you can't just put the podcast up like on Libsyn or iTunes or Spotify or whatever. You need to also put like a blog post of your podcast episode on your website, which most people I think do already. Show notes, here's the transcript. Google can crawl your transcript so it can see everything that's in the post. You know, I think it's helpful. you need to think about search intent with SEO. So it's like, what is somebody searching to that would land them on your podcast page? And are they searching to listen to a podcast about something, or are they searching to just find the answer to something? Like maybe they don't actually want to listen to a podcast to get the answer. So in my show notes, I don't just like tease the episode and say, listen to find out X, Y, and Z. I would actually kind of give them the full answer of like, this is what the episode's about. So that way you're kind of matching that search intent for somebody who's like, I don't want to listen to an episode. I just wanted to know 3 ways to grow my email list.
Yes. Okay. That makes sense. So I want to go back to this decision of you getting off social. So what did that transition look like? Because you said, it had been 6 months and I realized, wait a second, my business has grown and I'm not on social. So were there any beyond that? That's the hugest surprise of all, in my opinion. But did anything else come up for you? Did you have FOMO? Do you still look at social? Like, tell me a little bit about what your world looks like not posting on social.
Yes, great questions. Okay, so I don't post, I don't scroll, I don't have the app on my phone.
You do not scroll?
No, I'm off 100%.
Are you an alien? Like, that is incredible. I bet your family loves that. Hobie hates that I scroll on TikTok.
I know. It's hard. It's hard. I've never even been on TikTok. I'm like, I can see why it's addicting for sure. So I don't do anything. The only thing I still do, I have 2 caveats. Like we even moved our community Facebook groups to Slack channels so that we were totally social media free. But I am still in a lot of Facebook groups for programs that I'm a part of. Even my kids' school, their parent groups are faced. So I do still get on Facebook occasionally, mostly to just go to my groups that I'm in, do what I need to do, and then get off. And occasionally we do still run ads on social media, which I feel like is maybe a little bit of a gray area. But for me, the difference is I'm not like creating new content all the time. It's like I put up an ad, I let it run, it works or it doesn't, and then I'm done.
I feel like ads are very different. I create ads also. They never feel like social media to me. I realize we place the ads on social, but the ad creation does not feel like social.
Yeah, it's not the same. Yeah, agreed. I'm not looking at likes and comments and who shared this and, whatever. So I think one of the biggest surprises was how little I actually missed it and how little FOMO I really did have. What I found is that the people I really care about, I talk to anyway. And now we just text each other photos and things like, oh, you're on your trip. Send me a picture, and I just have a closer relationship now, I feel like, with the people that I really do care about. I will say there's kind of those like acquaintance style friends where it's like, I like to kind of know what's going on with you. But after a while, I kind of realized if I'm not close enough to you to say like, hey, what's up? I haven't seen you in a while. Let's catch up. I don't really need to know where you went on vacation 6 months ago. And so I think there was a little bit of that for those kind of acquaintance style friends, but not really I feel like I had more FOMO being on Facebook or being on Instagram because it felt like people are always hanging out without me doing, like I'm just sitting here at home scrolling. Everyone else is living the best lives. And so I had more FOMO on it than I did off of it.
Oh, that is interesting. And I could totally see how that would be true. Now, also, I think, tell me if I'm wrong, but you probably have fostered some deeper relationships, maybe fewer, but deeper. Would you say that is true?
Yeah, 100%. Yes.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah. And even like sometimes I liked Instagram DMs for people that like, oh, I, met you at a conference or a mastermind, like colleague type relationships. Let's get to know each other better. Now I just do that on Voxer. And I prefer that because we can actually like talk back and forth. I mean, I guess you can do that if you voice memo, but I like Voxer.
You are such a rarity. This is a fascinating conversation to me, and I'm very open-minded. I'm loving this for you. I might be a little bit jealous. I don't know if I'd be courageous enough, but I also am just like, wow, you figured something out. So those that are listening, someone out there, multiple people out there are thinking, wait a second, this woman is on to something. What would you instruct them to do? And you probably, I'm guessing in your business, you talk to your clients about this phenomenon. Like, They're very interested, right?
Yes.
So I feel like you opened up a whole new side of your business just because you're doing something most people aren't, which is so cool. So if they're thinking about it, what criteria would you suggest to help them make the decision if this is right for them or not?
Well, I think one of the first things I would do is, even for somebody like you, which your team might hate me for, but is like, give it a trial. Even if it's 7 days, what happens if I don't post for 7 days? Or what happens if I don't do anything for 30 days? And you can see, like, if you're already an established business and you're like, oh, I could never. Well, you could try it. And like, I promise, even if your business slows growth or something, like, you can still exist and bring it back up after a month. So I do think giving it a trial is important, and you might be surprised. I also think like the three main things I would ask yourself is, do I enjoy being here? Is this actually working for me? And like, do I kind of support the premise of social media in general? Like, I think part of my decision to come off of it, and there's no judgment. Obviously, I was on it before, but I watched documentaries like The Social Dilemma, just saw like how manipulative these companies are, and creating these addictions, and like they're designed to basically make us miserable. And it just started feeling like unethical to me to participate in some ways. And I felt like with the 2020 election and everything, like also the way that social media can spread misinformation, that coming like right before I decided to get off social, I do think that also played a role. And just like, I just don't want to be a part of this whole thing. Like, I just don't,
You felt that to your core.
yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like that's a really great question. Just how do you feel about social in general and where do you stand with it? And that's an interesting question. I think most of us don't even ask ourselves. We just see it as something necessary. So we make it happen. So if someone's listening and they're going to ask themselves those three questions, really great questions, and they think, you know what? I want to get off social. I do. I want to get off social. And what would be the first few steps they would need to take? Because like if you told me today, or if I said to you, I'm getting off social, I would absolutely see a decline in my list growth because we do very intentional things to use social media to grow our email list. I mean, I wouldn't use a strategy if it didn't work. So I would need to change a few things. Now, I have a pretty big business, and a lot of my listeners, a lot of them are just getting started. Not all, but a lot of them are. So they may be in a different situation than me. So let's take someone that's been in business for about 2 years. They've been growing their business. They've been using social. They have an email list of a few thousand people. They've got their first course out there. They're making maybe $100,000 a year, and they want to get off social. What would be the first few steps beyond asking themselves these questions? They've made the decision. What do they do now?
Yeah, great question. So I think the first thing I would do is, because I'm like you, I still like, I make all of my money in my business through my email list. Like, it's all still comes back to the email
I
list.
want everyone to hear that. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, we're on the same page there.
Yeah, so same page. So growing my email list is still number one priority. So I think I would look at, what else am I doing besides social media that is currently working and that I might enjoy more? So you might already have some other things in your business that are like, well, ads actually work really well. Like, what if we upped the ad budget and reallocated some time and money expenses that you have into going to something like that? Again, like, do you have a website that's optimized for SEO? And if not, can that be something that's on your list, is to create that and to optimize your existing website and create some kind of regular content to, maintain that.
Okay, right there, I want to stop you because I'm glad you said that. Some people listening, as much as I shout it from the rooftops, they're not yet, and no judgment, they're not yet doing consistent revenue. They're not doing consistent content. So they don't have that weekly blog or weekly podcast or weekly video show. So for something like this to work, if you are going to get off social, would you agree we got to get into the habit of that weekly original content?
Yeah. And I 100% agree. I would say weekly to bi-weekly, I think you can get away with a little bit less, but weekly generally is kind of the standard that I say would, like, that's the best ideal situation. And I bet that they would spend less time creating one weekly blog post than they do creating multiple weekly social media posts and way less brain capacity thinking about, should I post this? What should I post next? Is this even working? What am I doing? What, and like constantly thinking. I feel like that was a huge, not surprise, I guess, but like once I quit, I didn't realize how much time I actually just spent in my head thinking about social, let alone actually doing it.
Totally. Absolutely. I really love what you said before that, which is find out what else are you doing that's working for list growth and double down there. But you added something that is a theme to this episode that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Because I have to keep coming back to, you got off social media because you didn't enjoy it. What a concept. You are right. You teased me in the beginning of this episode. You're the boss, Amy. If you don't want to do social media, you don't have to do social media. And you are right about that. So focusing on what you really enjoy, because we don't want to be dreading these businesses that we're building.
Well, right. And I know so many of your listeners found you through your book and they're leaving their 9-to-5 jobs because they don't enjoy them. Don't just create another business you don't enjoy.
Yes, that's so true. So anything else in terms of steps to get ready, if you've made the decision, I'm getting off social, we'll add in, do a trial run. If it's 7 days, 14 days, a whole month, just allow yourself to fully step away and see how you feel about that, which I want to say there might be a little angstiness around that if you're on social every single day, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It's just you have to manage your emotions around it. Anything else in terms of getting ready to get off social? We might have exhausted the list.
I know. I'm trying to think. I mean, I feel like, yeah, looking at what's already working, creating some kind of SEO content plan. And then I also think like creating some kind of additional visibility plan if you're not already doing it that is similar to like speak on a summit or participate in a bundle or go on somebody's podcast or pitch yourself to be featured in Forbes or whatever publication could be a good fit, and doing things that are off social. That, I mean, there's so many other ways to grow your list, and I've actually had way more success. I mean, got 1,000 new subscribers doing a bundle at Christmas time. And it was like, oh my gosh. And then they all, were ideal clients and went on to buy. And so I think there's lots of different ways to do it. And maybe even think about starting your own affiliate program. Obviously, you do that with DCA. I've been an affiliate for years. And we also have our own affiliate program where then you can find people to borrow their audience to grow yours.
Yeah, I love that. While you were saying that, it reminded me that if you're not on social, if let's say I weren't creating the reels and doing all the ManyChat, you've missed the whole ManyChat thing, Kate. I feel like I want to fill you in on everything that's going on. But the ManyChat and all of that, the DMs, like DM me this word in order to get that. If we weren't doing that, I have to admit, I don't do a lot of that. I have a full-time social media manager that's wonderful. So I don't feel as angsty about social because I don't do all of it. I mean, I show up in it, but I don't have to do the back end. But a lot of my listeners do all of it. And so let's say they decided to get off social. And my point being is how much it frees your mind to think of other things beyond social. Other ideas, like you said, the summit or getting interviewed on people's podcasts, the time you'll have to pitch yourself to other podcasts. You will open up a very big window that could be filled with really cool, creative ideas.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's what I found was just that I had so much more time and energy and brain space to do all of these other things and think outside the box and do things that weren't just as effective. They were even better than what I was doing on social. So, and there's two other things I wanted to say real quick too that you just reminded me of. The first is you were saying like, since you're not the one doing it, then it's not as angsty. And I think that is true for most people if they're outsourcing it. And I know I outsourced it. I went through several periods where like I would have a year where I had somebody else do it for me. But I still ended up feeling like, but I need to make sure that my money is being well spent and this is worth it. So I need to be looking at the stats. And then I'd look at the stats and I'd be like, oh, I hate this. This isn't, and so never fully removed. Exactly. And if it's working, then we don't really have a problem. But if it's not working, then you're still in the same boat, even if somebody else is doing it for you.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the second thing was how to prepare. So one thing that I did that now has become this thing, which I definitely didn't create, but I did it before I knew it was like people were doing this, is I thought, okay, I'm not on social anymore, but I know other people still are. And a lot of times when people want to know, is this person legit? Am I going to work with them? They're going to go to your social media profile and search you. I don't want it to look like I'm dead. My business isn't around. Like I haven't posted in 3 years. What's going on? So what I did instead is I basically turned the like 9 grid into a portfolio, but kind of thinking of it like, this is my website now. This is my welcome mat. And in the last post in particular, I said, this is my welcome mat, but it's not where I hang out. I'm not on social. So if you want to find me, here's where you can. And so I kind of explained that in some of the other posts too, and gave them like, here's where you can go. Yes, I'm still around. I'm still in business. I can still help you. Just don't hang out on social media. And so I think you can do something similar if you're interested and you still want to make sure that people can land on your profile page and not think like this person's not legit. And so I love that 9 grid option.
Tell people where they can see an example of yours.
So my business is Success with Soul. My Instagram account, I didn't delete it. It's at success.with.soul. And so you could see mine right there. You'll see it hasn't been updated since 2022. So I did it a long time ago. I probably should refresh it because a lot's changed in my business since then, but I just haven't and don't think about it. So yeah, you can see an example there. And actually in the freebie that I'll share with your people too at this, I have like a training as part of my Beyond the Scroll challenge to get off social media that teaches you how to create your own.
Okay, great. Okay, so this is kind of a weird question, but the majority of people that are going to listen to this podcast are not going to get off social. However, they're intrigued, they're listening, and maybe this will spark them to maybe use it a little less or allow themselves to step back a little bit more. So those who do want to still use social, what would you say to them in terms of recommending how to use social as a tool amongst other parts of your business? And also, where do you think people get it wrong in terms of entrepreneurship in social media?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, again, if you're not going to get off for whatever reason, if it's because you love it or it's working for you, like that's you. You're the boss. It's your business. You get to decide. I would just look at, what's the ROI you are getting on this? How many hours a week are you actually putting into this? And how many clients or sales can you say that you directly got because of your efforts? So I think looking at that, just to even have the expectation, like one of my friends said to me, maybe you're not there to get clients. Maybe you're just there to like connect with people in a different way, in a way you can't necessarily do on email. And so maybe if I went back, that would be my goal. Like, I'm not trying to get clients from this. I'm just here to have conversations with people or something.
Okay.
It might change your expectations about how you use it.
Okay, where do you think entrepreneurs get it wrong when using social media in their business?
I think just feeling like they have to do it, like that everybody's there. And so it just like with anything in life and business, just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean you have to. And you left the rat race, you left corporate, you left having somebody else tell you what to do so that you could make your own decisions. So do that. And like you can trust that there's a million different ways to create a profitable business. There's not like one size fits all, works for everybody. And it's the only way to do it.
You're making me uncomfortable in this conversation, Kate. I just feel a lot of things right now. But the argument, you left a corporate job to be your own boss. Don't let something else control you in your own business. That is a compelling argument. You have nailed it with your messaging, my friend. Okay, so looking back, you've built this business, Success with Soul. What do you think you would have done differently knowing what you know now? Would you have ever gotten on social, or what would you do different?
You know, it's so hard to say. I'm a big believer in like failure equals feedback and it's all just lessons learned. And so it's easy in hindsight to say, oh, I never should have even gotten on it in the first place. But I think I also am somebody that would always wonder what if. And so now I can answer that question to myself. What if I was back on social media? Okay, probably have a similar business that you have right now. Like, I don't think not being on it has catapulted my business. I think I've just been able to still have the business I want without needing to do things I don't want to do. But I don't know that I would ever have gotten to that place if I didn't start there and realize I don't like this. I need to find a better way.
Totally agree. Really well said. So, what are you most excited about now?
I'm excited helping other people either get off social media or just do business more on your own terms and creating the business that, I mean, I think it's kind of a cliche now in our industry of like, creating a business that you really love. But I feel like then there's still a lot of the same messaging of like, but you got to do it like this. I'm very much excited about, no, you don't. You can do it however you want to do it. Like I see, we're teaching this. We're doing these get it done weeks in my business where we have these like live challenges with our clients about we're picking one thing, we're going all in and we're working on it together. And so anyway, this week we were doing your home and about pages. And I showed two different home pages. I showed Elizabeth Goddard's, who's a 7-figure business owner. Her about page is about this big. It's not even, you can't even scroll it. It's so simple. It's not like very design heavy at all. She still has a super successful business. And then I showed your friend Jenna Kutchers, who has a beautiful, highly designed page. It's very comprehensive. It scrolls forever. She's got a million things going on. Also, crazy successful business. So it's just like one of those things where you go, there is no one right answer. You just do what works for you.
Yes, I love that message. So, to end on that note, what are your final parting words for somebody who's listening right now, feeling all the feelings I'm feeling, but also, I don't know, maybe I'll do this. Maybe they're thinking, I might do this. What would you say to them?
I would say give it a try. It's not going to kill you to give it a try if you're curious. Just the same way that I was saying, I might always wonder what if I had never been on social, maybe you'll always wonder, what if I wasn't on social until you just try it? And maybe you'll find I actually love it or that I prefer doing it this way. And that's great. So I would say give it a try. And if you need some support, we have this free challenge to help you. And day one is all about figuring out like your own digital manifesto, what is really important to you, and writing that down and getting clear about your own values and how you really do feel about social media. And that might also kind of just help you, get the push that you need to make a decision one way or the other.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to link to that in the show notes so everyone could go check it out and see if maybe this is what they want to do. So it's amyporterfield.com/696. That's where you go in order to grab that freebie. Kate, thank you so much for being on the show. I was fascinated when I heard your story. So I've been looking forward to this, and I appreciate you giving us a different perspective.
Thanks so much for having me.
So there you have it. I don't know if I was right, but are you feeling a little bit uncomfortable? And by uncomfortable, I mean like, ooh, there's something stirring in me about this episode. Like Kate made some really great points that I can resonate with, and now I've got some thinking to do. That's what I mean by feeling a little uncomfortable about the episode. So I don't know where I stand right now. I've got some thinking to do. I can't imagine fully getting off social. I just where my business is and how we've built it and the intentionality we've put behind social. I can't imagine just getting rid of all of that. However, it does make me think about social differently. And here's something I will take away from this episode. I'll never say never, so who knows what I might decide down the road. But I will say this. Kate really hit me with this concept of don't be beholden to something that you don't love. Don't build a business that you're now dreading something big that you have to do in it, like posting on social. So I think I need to at least maybe one of my first steps is to work a little bit harder on making sure that if I'm going to stay on social, I really do it on my terms. And I've been doing that more and more lately. Like I've done things in the past on social that I'm like, felt so ridiculous and cheesy. I'm never doing that again. I do have some boundaries now of what I'm willing to do and not do on social, just based on my own character and personality and what I love. But I think I can get some more boundaries and dive into that. So if this episode did nothing more than help me create a few more boundaries around social, I think that was valuable enough. But for some of you, you might be thinking, oh no, Amy, I want to know more about this. And so dive in, my friend, go with where your heart takes you. And again, I want to know. So DM me on Instagram. I'm just at Amy Porterfield. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Online Marketing Made Easy, and I'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye for now.